Hi, good morning. This is Engelgeist. This is my channel. Welcome to my channel. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. I appreciate each and every one of you. This is the yearly predictive for 2020 for the sign of Leo. So those of you with a sun, moon, or rising in the sign of Leo, this is your reading for the next 12 months of 2020. Now, what I want to say after making that large and bold statement, because you Leos are large and bold people, is that my belief is everything is malleable and we have free choice and free will. So as I'm saying that, as I do this reading, keep in mind that this reading is for multiple people that may view this. You're allowed to take whatever you would like to take and leave the rest. As we get further out into the year, my belief is that there is more room for change in these cards, and they are not necessarily destined to be or set in stone by any means. These are just broad outlooks as to where the energy can potentially flow for my Leos in the year of 2020. Now, if something is like super negative, or not that I ever really give out super negative messages, I don't believe there's such a thing as super negative. I believe everything's there for a purpose. But if there's anything that you might deem as something that you don't want to have happen, you can utilize this time in this reading as a warning so that you can make choices and changes to affect the outcome so that you go a different route, okay? So I just want to make that very, very clear. I also will be pulling 3 extra cards, one for health, which I am not a doctor. Do not take my advice over a doctor's advice. One for love. I am not a matchmaker. But you can certainly look at what your overview for the year will be in love, and also one for finance. Those are what I consider the Holy Trinity. Beyond that, I am going to tell you I am using a mini deck tarot called the Harmonious Tarot, and the reason why I chose this deck, I'm saying this on all the videos, is that I believe that it's in line with what's coming for us in 2020. 2020 being 2 even numbers. Those 2 circles are zeros. To me, feel very, I don't know, there's like a balance, there's a harmony in the number. It's an angel number. It just feels like, I have a feeling that those of us that are coming in off of a rough 2019, even a 2018, 2019 learning cycle, 2020 might be the year that we restore a little bit of balance and harmony, and hence why I'm using the Harmonious Tarot. I felt like it was in line with sort of what the year is about to present to even all of the signs, not just the Leos, but to all of the signs. And I wanted to say that, what was the other thing I was going to just say? It just slipped right out of my mind. Oh, age. Oh, you silly sucker, age. The intention is that just basically to keep the focus on, that we're beginning a new decade. And I think that that is also very significant. We're going into a new decade, and I think that there's sort of like a reset that happens when we enter into a new decade. Hence, why I'm seeing a lot of people in last month's December tarotscopes. A lot of the signs feel like they're doing a last-minute cram test for, like, say, an exam in the morning. I saw some energy, or felt some energy throughout multiple signs where it felt like we're trying to do this last-ditch effort of getting rid of the detritus or the things that are maybe holding us back so that we can walk into this 2020 cycle really sort of set up for some balance and abundance, okay? So that being said, I just wanted to share that information with you. A couple other housekeeping things. If you want to support the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. I am new to all of this. I've only been doing this about a year, and I've been working fairly hard at it. I think it's been I've been working very hard at it and been dedicated. If you want to support me, please hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on my Facebook business page, please hit the like button and then maybe hit the follow button on the business page so that you're notified when I go live. I do go live every morning for a daily forecast, which is for all signs. It's just a general collective energy for humanity, so to speak. But I also something we should focus on every day. It's sort of like your spiritual weather forecast. I call it the energetic forecast. And then I do these monthly tarotscopes. I also do live palm readings, things like that. So if you do hit the subscribe button or the follow button, hit the bell so that you're notified when I do go live, so that you can tune in. There's a great community of people that do regularly watch me. You'll get synced in with them and be able to chat with them. Today, during these tarotscopes, these yearlies, I don't have the chat box up because I'm focusing solely on this reading. I don't want to be have my attention pulled in any other direction other than what is Leo, the sign of Leo, experiencing for the year of 2020. Okay, so if you're chatting with me right now via Facebook or YouTube, I can't see it. It's not anything personal. It's just, this is a big reading that I need to give my full attention to. Okay? And if you, other ways of supporting the channel, sorry. Share these videos out, share them to your page if you're a Leo, share them to your friends, post them in groups that you belong in where they'll be accepting and of use to people. You can follow me on Instagram at Engelgeist333. That's another way to support me. And you can always book a private reading if you feel so inclined. Those are available to you, and once this video uploads, I will include that information as to how to do that in the description of the video. Okay? So let's get started and see what's going on with my Leos for the year of 2020. Okay. So we're going to kick off with our first card. I'm doing one card per month to give a broad overview of what might be experienced during the month of, for each month during the year of 2020. So your first card out is the Four of Swords. And remember, this is a collective reading for all Leos with a sun, moon, or rising. So this is quite a few people. The potential for tuning in and watching this could be many people. Again, I'm going to reiterate, nothing I say is set in stone, but you can use this as a guide as to the possibilities of what you may or may not be experiencing during these times. So this January card is the Four of Swords. To me, this is not a bad card, and I feel like January is a time of rest for my Leos. I feel like there's a... How do I want to say this? I feel like this card indicates to me that we've been coming in off of 2019 with maybe a lot on our plate, maybe a lot to think about, a lot to sort of process, and January to me feels like the still the further continuation of that processing of that information. The reason why I say that is the swords is the element of air, and also the the realm of the intellect. So this is a lot about sort of thinking, and when I look at these swords pointed back and forth, to me it feels like sort of kind of going over things multiple times from different perspectives, trying to find the answers that you seek. And I feel like this card sort of exists maybe a little bit in the previous year. Like we've been at this card or trying to sort of sort out and get clear on stuff. Now these two figures that are in repose in these flowers say to me that this is also a time to rest our brains a little bit. Give ourselves a little bit of acknowledgement and know that we've been through maybe a tough 2019. I'm not sure if any of you Leos can own that or relate to that. If you've had a great 2019, then this may not be for you, this card, but to me this feels like this is an opportunity to sort of relax and also relax our minds, right? Bring down sort of the overthinking energy or the idea. I'm sorry, my computer just went off and pulled my attention. I hate when that happens. So this is for us to sort of slow down our thoughts, give ourselves some credit, relax, and sort of clear away the detritus or the sort of back and forth nature of our thoughts that might have been going on in 2019, and really sort of settle them. I feel like four is, to me, in my mind, I always see them as signs of stability from the standpoint of, I think of like four legs on a table, right? It offers that balance and that stable energy. So for this is about sort of stabilizing our brain and resting a little bit and getting ready sort of mentally for the year to come, if that makes sense. So we want to, in January, really nurture ourselves, give ourselves that time, give ourselves that mental space to understand that we've had a rough. I feel like this, not, I don't want to say it's like been a rough year, but we've dealt with a lot in 2019. We've maybe even dealt with it successfully, but now it's time to sort of let that stuff go in the month of January. It's like we're still sort of maybe processing some of what we've been through or achieved in 2019, and we're still like finishing, doing the finishing touches is how I feel like this is. These four swords are sort of like that last cleanup on aisle 4 before we move into the rest of 2020. And I feel as I'm saying that to you, what I'm hearing is that it's this opportunity to sort of do that cleanup, do that inventory, and get sort of settled in what you know and what you have, and really allow yourself a little bit of respite, a little bit of relaxation, a little bit of honoring yourself, especially at a mental level. Giving yourself a little bit of a break is what I'm hearing too. Now, the next card is your February card. This is the Ace of Pentacles. Beautiful card. I like this because this feels like when we settle this mental aspect of ourselves in January and we give ourselves this rest, we come out in February a little bit renewed and ready to sort of work on our material world. Pentacles to me is, you know, not to me, but is naturally earthbound and material, deals with the realm of the material realm. So this being the Ace of Pentacles says to me that there might be new ideas, there could be new changes, there could be inspired thought around how to sort of have the things that we want in our life on a material level. This is about like inspired energy, new reinvigoration, and that could definitely come from this sort of month of giving ourselves a little bit of a slowdown, a little bit of peace, allowing our thoughts to kind of stabilize, and moving into the year. To me, I'm going to say this right now, Leo, I feel like this is slower moving energy for you in the month of January than you are used to. This is sort of, you guys are fire signs and you tend to be a bit more dynamic. And to me, this feels like you guys have to go into the year of 2020 at a little bit more of a slower pace because you're about to build something rather large. That's what I'm hearing with this Ace of Pentacles. Now, whatever that may be, that could be multiple things for multiple Leos, right? But this Ace of Pentacles represents sort of inspired thought, inspired ways of being around material aspects of your life. This could be for some of you, you know, a new job. This could be for something that brings in better money. This could be a new career or going into business for yourself. This could be the sort of the acquiring of a relationship, either romantic or changing your familial relationships. To me, this feels like being inspired and really having a singular vision and moving towards that. And there's a strength and a purpose in this card that I see has been gathered from this sort of rest and stabilizing of your thoughts and your mental state in the first month of the year. Does that make sense? She's also resting very, she still continues to rest here in February. I'm going to say that, but I feel like from that place there's a self-assuredness that I see, and I feel like this self-assuredness in this ace comes from this Four of Swords, this sort of stability that we create through giving us ourselves like that sort of break or that opportunity to kind of clear away our extraneous thoughts and allow ourselves to sort of understand what we've been through, what we've achieved, and now we get to go into like sort of the creation of something new, right? And that creation, this being an ace to me, I mean, if it was something bigger like a major arcana card, it would be a bigger creation quite possibly, but this Ace of Pentacles does say to me that in February, ideas that are coming about or changes that might be shifting and coming into play will be significant. This is, you know, an aces pack a fair amount of energy to them. You know, we've got in Tarot, you know, it's not like it's the sort of, how do I want to say this? Like the major arcanas have the most sort of punch or learning effect, that sort of thing. Then I see sort of the aces and the court cards is also very significant. So to me, this Ace of Pentacles definitely speaks to the fact that we may be starting out the year slow, but the energy is building as we move into like through the winter into the spring, right? Now, we have for March the Five of Swords. So, again, this feels to me like a back and forth a little bit. I'm going to say this. We're stable here and we're looking back at the year that we've just recently been through and maybe what we've dealt with and how we've dealt with it, and we're sort of taking inventory in stock. We're stabilizing our thoughts and giving ourselves a break or a rest in January. We're giving ourselves credit where credit is due, and we're easing up on ourselves. When we do that, new change and inspired thought starts to come in. New ideas of how we want to live, where we want to live, what we want to do for our finances, whatever this may be for you. It's going to be rather profound. I feel like it will be very clear, and I feel like you guys will spend the month of February working on it. Now, in the month of March, it's about the opportunity to sort of move away from it, move away from anything that stands in the way of you and this accomplishment or this achievement, this idea coming to fruition. There are some things that are going to be needed to be let go of, I feel like. Either some ways of our own thinking, some people that stand in our way, some ideas that maybe stand in our way or limit us, but we are going to have to do that work in the month of March, or um, if we don't, we might be carrying dead weight with us, is what I'm feeling or hearing. If we don't, our process is going to be slow. I do feel a little bit of a syrupy energy between these two swords cards. This does not feel syrupy to me, but it does feel like the fact that she's sort of sitting here resting is like she's getting clear on what she wants, and there is a clarity in this ace, right? There's a determination and a clarity. But in obtaining this and wanting this and desiring this in the month of February, we then have to take steps and like actual physical action or mental action, and make decisions around what is working and what is not, and really clearing those things away. What I'm also hearing too is some of this is some things that we have not completed or finished in 2019. We still are sort of shedding those things. Now, this could be thoughts, this could be people in our lives that are no longer serving us, this could be situations in our lives that are no longer serving us, but we need to sort of cut ourselves free mentally and move on. And we will, I sort of feel like this is happening. Like I see this person sort of making the journey, but it might be a little bit of again, we have to sort of settle that up, or come clear on that, and really make that decision for ourselves and not for anyone else. Not, be making that decision for ourselves only, not taking others. I'm not saying you shouldn't take others into account. Um, but it's about like putting yourself first. Does that make sense? Now, the next card, which would be April, is the King of Wands. And this speaks to that singularity in that putting yourself first energy. To me, this is all about spiritual connection. This is another sort of power player card. And I love that we have this singular man sort of looking back at the past, in control, feeling fulfilled, feeling. This is where I like to see my Leos, okay? This is the energy I like to see my Leos in. This is the element of fire, which is your sign's element. Excuse me. And this is also an air of royalty, right? You can't get any better than this. The king is wearing his crown. Leos like love, they sort of love to be honored and acknowledged. They deserve that acknowledgement. The King of Wands is always sort of like this fiery, wonderful ruler that he's in control. He's supported here with this cane, and he's looking back on the past now from a place of more self-assuredness, more awareness. And I have to say this too, what I also find interesting in these cards as I'm looking at them, is that we have this swords energy happening in these 2 months, and swords are the element of air, which is the component or the like opposite of fire, right? So this is not necessarily unknown an unknown sort of element to you guys. Does that make sense? So what I'm trying to express here is that you're kicking off in your sister element of thought and the element of air. The fire that you guys are, okay, am I making sense with this? Yes. The fire that you guys are, fire requires air to burn, right? It requires oxygen to burn. And so when we're looking at the fact that you're going through these thoughts and maybe stabilizing them, taking a break, getting clear on what it is you want materially and being inspired by that, and then moving forward in a way where you have to collectively like clear away any thoughts, and this could be the thoughts of others too, but clearing them away and really doing that work. When you do that work and you make the decision to move forward, you move forward from a place of a position of power. You move forward from a place sort of um, where you are aware of what you deserve. By like I feel like by spring, by April, you are definitely in this sort of more authentic place of who you truly are, and in appreciation of yourself, and ready to kind of take on the rest of the year. This to me feels like, oh, the cats are here. This to me feels like, speaking of the Leo reading, both of the cats show up. This to me feels like you're also reflecting back on maybe 2019 and the last 3 months of maybe what you've done within the first part of 2020 from a place of appreciation, gratitude, and understanding what you've been through and how well you've handled it. Okay? So there is this sort of air of relief, like I hear this sigh of relief being breathed out and going, okay, now I get it. I understand why I went through all of that, and I'm ready to sort of move forward. But you sort of are also, I feel like this king is sort of looking back at the past and honoring it. And there's a key component to that. There's an importance to that for you guys because it's going to allow you to, in that honor and in that awareness, I feel like that's what allows you to have this sort of this King of Wands energy. This is a deep spiritual sort of awareness of who we are and what we're worth. Wow, that was a high jump, Sven. That's great. So let's look at May. So May is the Knave of Chalices. So this is interesting to me because this is like the Page of Cups. There's an emotional learning that's going to take place in the month of May for you guys. Emotionally, I feel like you might have some stuff that you are probably processing from this month, right? And even though we're feeling connected and in charge in the month of April and like sort of steering the ship, so to speak, I feel like we're really making a decision, putting our foot down and saying goodbye to the past, thanking it, being in gratitude for it, and understanding the gifts that it gave us, even if it was through adversity. We then sort of get to spend the month of May kind of processing all of that at an emotional level, right? And really sort of learning from those experiences, learning from those. From everything that we've dealt with, right? We're sort of processing it at an emotional level. I do want to say this as I'm looking at this card, I'm hearing that this might be a time for a change or a move. Can you stop, Sven? Like, seriously, the bug is gone. There's like I get this feeling that there's a possibility of a change or a move for some of you. I feel like there's also this exuberance or this sort of reinvigoration. The youthfulness of the knave is speaking to me about this idea of feeling enthusiasm and maybe a reinvigoration emotionally in the month of May where you feel there's an exuberance. I do think that this is also a period of learning and kind of processing everything that's gone on in these first four cards. But because you have the authority of this King of Wands here, you're able to then delve into your emotional self and sort of make any adjustments, learn any, process any sort of emotional stuff that you've had going on and assimilate it and sort of, what's the word I want to say, like balance it, rectify it, learn from it, and process it, and then be able to sort of move forward. And that's where I feel like this move is happening. There might be an actual physical move or change that happens in this month for you guys. This could be like a change of job. This could be a change of home. This could be a change of. I just feel like the reason why I'm being drawn to this is he's pointed out this way, away from the castle, right? So I feel like he's walking away from the castle. So I feel like this could be something as simple as maybe a vacation for you guys. But there is definitely this shift of being, or the shift and placement of yourself, and it will affect you emotionally. I don't think that that's in a negative or bad way. I actually think that it's in an educational and beneficial way, and a good way. So just look for that in the month of May. June, we have the King of Cups. So whatever we were learning in the month of May, we've certainly have learned it by June. So we already have this energy of the King of Wands happening. Now we have this sort of beautiful watery energy of the King of Cups. I feel like we've looked at ourselves. This mirror is drawing my attention. I feel like we've looked at ourselves. We've learned from ourselves in the month of May. We've gone out there. We've maybe taken a few risks, like moved ourselves away from stuff that feels familiar. We've filled our cup a little bit. We've learned how to fill our cup. We've learned how to drink from it, how to like feel our emotions, how to honor our emotions. And as we do that, we strengthen that honor. We strengthen that ability. And hold on, I'm going to kill this cat. As we do that, get out of the room. Go. As we do that, we start to grow in that understanding and the ownership of those emotions, right? We understand that they are attributes, or they are, what's the word? Maybe not attributes, but they are assets rather than sort of, they are assets to us instead of detriments, right? So, and we've looked in this mirror, keeps drawing my attention. Like, we've done the work, we've looked at ourselves at a deeper level, maybe in this month here, and we've learned a little bit about ourselves at an emotional level. We've learned how to work with our emotions, and there's a mastery that I feel like that is happening here in June, where we're feeling very good, we're feeling benevolent, we're feeling loving, we're able to show that love to others. Again, we're able to sort of be grateful for that. And also, I'm going to say this too. I feel like in the month of June, we're very much in the present moment, or more so in the present moment than we have been in all of the years thus far for 2020. Okay? And part of the reason why I'm saying that is as I'm looking at this card, this king is staring straight at us, straight forward. And that says to me that he is in the present moment. He's enjoying this moment. He's feeling in control. He's showing us his cup and the mastery of that, being willing to share his emotional self, but doing so from a place of control, from a place of understanding, from a place of achievement, from a place of honor. So this to me feels like a definite, May and June feel like a definite period of like sort of evolution for you guys at an emotional level that will produce a real significant change, okay, in how you sort of connect with yourself emotionally, and there's a power in that, there's a strength in that there's a beauty in that. Okay, so your next card for July is the Three of Cups. Now this is always about, sort of, to me, like a celebration, a coming together. This is definitely a feminine card, and it's always about sort of, these three women coming together and sort of enjoying themselves. This doesn't necessarily have to signify that for you guys, but this definitely feels like this is about the enjoyment of yourself, the enjoyment of others. There's a lot of Cups energy running through these 3 months. There's a lot of emotions, but I feel like the emotions are going to be good, and they're backed up by this rest that we took in the early part of the year, the work and the choices that we've made, and the dedication to that, and the sort of this awareness of this spiritual connection in this King of Wands allows us to sort of open the door to the emotional aspect of ourselves and really feel that and bring in that joy. And by July, this Three of Cups says to me that we are able to sort of feel and appreciate our emotions and the levels of joy with others and within ourselves, right? And we have that because we have that here with this King of Cups. We're almost bringing to the party the best sort of version of ourselves come July. Does that make sense? And actually, I think, is it? No, June and July is Cancer. Is July, August this when Leo kicks off? Now that I think about it, or no, it's August. I think it's July, August when Leo kicks off, right? So this might be just the celebration of the beginning of your Leo season, right? I'm not sure. Some of you will have to um, correct me on that if I'm wrong in the comments. But if it is July, that is the beginning of Leo season, or when Leo kicks off, that might be this. It's sort of like the feeling of being in our own element, really enjoying ourselves and who we are, enjoying those around us, and really celebrating that. And I think that there's an opportunity here to sort of also look back upon everything that you've done throughout the year of 2020 and really be appreciative of that at an emotional level, very much so, and sharing of that, right? Like the sort of that's the three energy that I feel like is in this card, is that there's this sort of coming together and sharing that with others, which will be key because you Leos love sort of connecting with others and sort of the attention of others, and this is an opportunity. Not only do you get that attention, but you also get to give that attention back, and so I like that in the month of July when it's sort of like high summer, the energy is high, the sun is out, which is your guys' ruling planet. So this is a good month for you, I think, to celebrate, to get with friends, to enjoy yourself. Now, the next card for August is the Lovers. So we're building on this emotional, we have this run of cups energy, right? Where we get to this August where we have the Lovers card. And to me, I'm going to say this right out of the gate, it feels like the party, the party that started in July continues into August. The Lovers card is a major arcana card, so this feels like this is going to be a significant month for you guys, or that's what this card says to me. I love the angel in this card that is like over these people here. This is sort of like a wedding, but it's still there's these three women here dancing, and this feels like the three same people or three more individuals, right? So we have this party still continuing on, but at a much more profound and deeper level of, say, appreciation, of worth, of value. July and August for you guys are really about shining, and we even have this sun above the angel's head, right? I see it here in the card. This is about really, really coming into high Leo season, I think, and enjoying ourselves, appreciating ourselves, really falling in love with not only ourselves but those around us, the world around us, our environment. And we're able to do so because we've sort of learned about ourselves in the early part of the year, acquired that knowledge and really made it real, and then we start to share that knowledge with others, or share that more, that emotionally connected self. And by August, we're really connected. We're really connected at a level of appreciation, and not only us. Not only the Leos will be connected to, like, say, their environment or their loved ones in a way that is much like maybe deeper than it has been, but it's also like we are allowing others to appreciate us. I have to say that too. With this Lovers card, there's a reciprocation that's happening in this card, that it's really like a big blissful party come August, where things are coming together, things are feeling in line, and the joy that's in this card, I feel like the way I want to express it is the joy that's in this Lovers card is like it's going to be undeniable come August, right? You guys are really going to be feeling the love, experiencing the love, receiving the love from not only the people around you, but also like your environment. There might be gifts to be had here, or opportunities to be had here in this month that are going to be undeniable, or might feel orchestrated by spirit. They might surprise you, right? But this Lovers card says to me that they will be definitely things that you desire, want, and will appreciate. So pay attention to the month of August and the opportunities that may arise during them. Okay, so now we've got September. Let's see what's going on in September. We have the Knight of Wands. So again, we're back in your suit of fire, or your element of fire, and the suit of wands. Again, it's a spiritual sort of card here. I feel like after this Lovers card, or this great August that we've had, and the positivity and the emotional growth that we've experienced in the months previous to this Lovers card, we're charging forward into sort of the fall and the winter, or the end of the year, really emblazoned and empowered, feeling strong, feeling protected, feeling honorable, understanding that at a deep spiritual level, really feeling inspired to move forward for the things that we believe to be true, whatever our morals, our beliefs. There's a strength in that for us, and there's a clarity and a purpose in that moves us forward with this Knight of Wands. And so it feels like uh, September is about like kind of really owning who we are, understanding who we are from a place of honor, and heading forward into the last 3 months of the year, um, relishing in that, or honoring that. And also, I have to say this too: knights to me are always in service, right? And so when I look at this, and I'm talking about the Three of Cups, right, that we have. Sorry, it's getting warm in here. I need to take off my sweatshirt. That Three of Cups that we have in July, and then the Lovers card that shows up in August, it sort of puts us in this position where we want to be of service come September with this Knight of Wands. We're able to move forward not only in service to ourselves, but in service to others, and really do that from a place of honor and respect, for others and also ourselves. So there's a nobility here, and there's an appreciation, a self-appreciation, and an appreciation of others that's really beautiful. That you might find yourself fixing some situations for others that you didn't see coming or didn't know, but this is sort of about you guys. How do I want to say this? Like, not bridging the gap, but like just being a really wonderful version of yourself that makes you feel sort of like you're serving a purpose at a deep spiritual level, and you're doing that in a way through service for others. Okay, now let's see what we've got for your October. Wow. So October is the Ace of Cups. I love that you have two kings and two aces throughout this year. That to me feels kind of interestingly harmonious and balanced. And you're also playing a lot with sort of these elements of um, uh, how do I want to say this? Like this back and forth between the cups and then the intellect wands. So like the fire wands aspect, or sorry, I'm like no, the swords, the air of swords, and the fire of wands, and then you have all of this cup stuff going on. So as we move forward through this time of maybe where we spend time appreciating ourselves, and in doing so we're able to appreciate others and do for them, similar like what I was talking about with this knight card here, this Knight of Wands. We then move into this idea where I feel like October is going to be a moment of reflection. October is going to be a moment where we feel really at peace. October is going to be a moment where we continue to move into the future, or into the rest of the year, with a real true understanding and appreciation of ourselves. We also have two angels here, which I love. But I think that this angel to me feels more like the Leos. So we start to understand what our gifts are, where our beauty lies, where our strengths are, not only just sort of like spiritually or mentally, but this is at an emotional level, right? We really truly like this is like an overflowing of emotions, an overflowing and an abundance of awareness of what we offer and how we offer it. This is a step up from this King of Cups that we sort of experienced, and all of this work that we did um, uh, through the month of May, June, and July, and even August, right? We're able to sort of process all of that, assimilate all of that, and really own it from a place of peace and beauty in this month of October, right? So I think that And also, any sort of challenges, I'm going to say this too, any sort of challenges that we may deal with throughout 2020, they come to an end in sort of October, or we sort of are finding ourselves beyond them. That's part of this Knight of Wands, is what I'm hearing. This is sort of like we've sort of ridden past and gone through the challenges, but the challenges of, say, 2019 are finally way behind us. Any sort of early challenges that we might experience in 2020 are finally way behind us, and we're able to really understand, like, at a very clear, precise place, emotionally, like what we've done, how hard we've worked, and what we're capable of, and really honor that within ourselves. Now, for November, we have the Nine of Swords. This is all about, to me, looking at where we want to be. This is like, I see her arms stretched out. It feels like she is projecting into the future. She is sort of kind of calling in her ideas, her thoughts, what it is she wants. So I'm telling you guys, looking at September, October, November, you guys are all facing towards 2021. It's funny, like, I look at how you come in slow and syrupy in 2020, possibly, with these swords energies up here, but then you're utilizing that mental acuity and that thought to sort of project yourself into the future that you really desire. And I think that that comes from this place of strength, of mental strength and awareness, because we have this sort of growth that takes place in these king cards and these cups cards, and culminating in this sort of emotional understanding and awareness and inspiration that happens in the month of October. We're then able to start to mentally, like, sort of create and think and energize, put our attention on the things that we want and where we want them to be by year's end, right? And so she's literally, like, this to me feels like she is literally mentally manifesting what it is she wants, and then reaching out and grabbing it for herself. It might be set in the future, it may be a few months ahead, but this is a month where we're putting the plans together in November. We're mentally, like, sort of focusing on it. I literally feel like she is sending out the vibes from her third eye and going, like, come to me, come to me, come to me, with her hand. So it is about sort of getting clear thought around what it is you want, and then actually believing and emotionally understanding and spiritually harnessing that energy and bringing it in, right? Now let's see what the end of the year card is. Wow. So the end of the year card is the Ten of Wands. Tens always offer, like, completion. And so, to me, this card, the Ten of Wands, speaks to a new journey. One second, I need to let the dogs in. I can hear them shuffling around outside. You want to come in? Come on. So tens represent completion. And when I look at this, this is about spiritual growth and sort of an understanding of what you've been through and where you want to be. And this here, there's a, I don't know if you can, how well you can see it because this crystal's in the way, but there's a path that they're looking down. These two people are looking down, and they're looking at this new castle, right? I feel like this is about, at the end of the year, there's going to be a new direction that opens up, a new idea, a new space, a new inspiration that you're going to want to pursue. It's going to feel inspired. It's going to feel spiritually connected to you. It's going to be, I feel like, and this is going to be multiple things for multiple Leos, mind you, right? But be on the lookout in the month of December for something that really inspires you, that is new to you, that is spiritually, it just turns you on. And that's what I'm feeling from this card, is it's like, oh wow, I really want this new job, or I think I want to move to this state, or I really want to date that guy. But whatever it is, you've sort of kind of come up with the idea of it and sort of made it manifest in November, and then the path is set and open in December for you to start to take that next step. This is like, to me, this is the opening of the new chapter, right? This is the new chapter of 2021. When I look at this, it definitely speaks to the fact that you will feel complete. or you will feel like whatever cycle you went through in 2020, you've achieved what you needed to, and there is sort of a completion to this at a deep spiritual level. And I like that you're ending out the year in a fire, in a wands card, which is your element of fire. So also says to me that there's sort of this idea that this pursuit or this new path that opens up, this new idea, this new inspiration, the feeling of completeness, all of that is going to be sort of fuel for you to move you forward in a way that is sort of that natural, dynamic, leonine way of getting in there and getting things done in a very big way. Does that make sense? So I feel like don't be surprised if you find yourself shifting and changing a fair amount throughout this year, but all of it is for this kind of betterment and getting yourself to the place that you want to be. That's sort of like the theme of this year of 2020 for my Leos. There's a definite amount of growth here that's happening at an emotional, at a spiritual level, and there's a sort of a connecting to oneself in a deeper way that is more spiritually communicative than maybe you have been in the past few years. Okay, I'm going to say that just from the cards that are sticking out in my mind and in this reading to me. It definitely speaks to this idea of my Leos are going deeper in 2020 into who they are, not only mentally but emotionally, and from that awareness creates a spiritual strength that I see in the Knight of Wands, in the Ten of Wands, and in that King of Wands that brings about this sort of strong desire to pay attention to one's thoughts, pay attention to one's emotions, gain sort of a level of mastery over them, and then utilize them to move you forward by the year's end. And you will be moving forward through 2020, do not get me wrong, but it feels like this moving forward is happening at, like, how do I want to say this, like internally? So everything that you're doing is all about your own sort of mental and emotional growth, and as you do that, you're growing spiritually, and then by the year's end, you're onto something totally new. This Ten of Wands says to me that also this path or this thing that opens up by year's end is going to be something you maybe didn't even expect. You might have expected it come November, but there's something, as I look at that Ten of Wands card, it says to me that there's something that you didn't see. It's beneficial, don't get me wrong. This is about a completion and then a moving to something new. But it's something that sort of, I have to say, it feels unexpected. Like I feel like there's a transformation that takes place for the Leos in 2020 that you guys will like naturally move through, right? But by year's end, you're going to be surprised at sort of what your options are. There's the word nobility comes up as I look at that Knight of Wands. There's like an emotional nobility that you guys are sort of achieving or pursuing this year that is going to set you up to open up to new paths and new ideas by the year's end that you didn't maybe otherwise know were possible, okay? That maybe weren't even on your radar. And that's because you're working this year to change your radar system altogether. Now, these next three cards, as I'm shuffling this deck, are for health, love, and finance. Now, these are just single cards that represent for all of the Leos, again, for the year of 2020. So it gives us just a little insight into these three specific areas, whether or not these are going to be significant for you all. Again, I am not a doctor, so do not take any of my advice or my reading from the health department over anything a doctor would say or any medical professional. Always seek a medical professional's advice over that of a tarot reader. And let me see what we've got. So we've got health, we've got love, and we've got finance. And here's the thing too, I'm also not a Wall Street broker, so, or an investment advisor. So, you know, do with these cards what you will, but remember, um, they are just like overviews for many people. Okay, so first in your health department. In the health department, we have the Six of Swords. This makes complete sense to me, only from the standpoint is that we start out the year with the Four of Swords and the Five of Swords, and we have this sort of mental. When also we see the Nine of Swords is present. There's a aspect of us doing the mental work this year. Our mental state is going to be key to our health for my Leos throughout the year of 2020. The consciousness of where you put your thoughts, what you're choosing to focus on is going to be key. That's what the Six of Swords is saying to me. The up and down swords and then the swords that are going left to right above the woman's head also say to me that there's going to be times throughout the year where you might be confused. There could even be situations where your health comes into play and that causes you sort of a stress. Because to me, when I look at this card with all of those swords flying in all of those different directions, it does feel a bit like it could be confusing or stressful. The other thing I have to say about this is all of this cups energy. I love that this river is here. This says to me that you're going to figure out this year, or there is an opportunity in this year to understand how the river of your emotions and the mental thoughts that you have, how they interact or interlace with your health. There is something very important in that, or that's sort of the message that I'm getting. There's a growth here. This is this flower. We do have a small guardian angel here, or a small cherub. We also saw those two angels in the Ace of Cups and in the Lover's card. This is about sort of watching. I'm going to say this. Watch your moods, Leo, throughout this year. You have this wonderful opportunity of emotional growth happening through these 4 months. And then, you know, coming into the last 4 months, really inspired to sort of create that change and be surprised by what you can actually create. There's going to be some stuff on the horizon that you didn't even realize. But your health, it's important that you pay attention to your thoughts, to your emotions, because those things are going to factor into your health this year. Okay? I'm not saying that I see any bad things or anything that like looks like there will be health related issues, but if any of my Leos do suffer from any health related issues or find themselves dealing with things that are annoying, even the common cold can stop us and slow us down and piss us off a little bit or get in our way and frustrate us. That's this Six of Swords energy. It's like, how much do we give that frustration credence in our life? Do we allow that frustration to sort of mentally attack us or take over, and then it starts to affect our emotional well-being, and then we get, you know, even maybe sicker? Like, these are things to just think about in the year of 2020, because we are doing a lot of mental emotional work throughout this year. So stay mindful of that and try and stay aware of that and allow your little guardian angels, I love this little cherub sitting here, allow them to guide you in your growth as far as your relationship to your own health. That's this flower growing over the emotions here. Is we do have guardian angels or spirit guides that are, they're willing to help us, to show us what we need to know so that we can sort of blossom and bloom. When we look at this from a standpoint of, if we let go of some of this confusion and these flying swords all around, we have this beautiful river of emotions that sort of does feed this blossom, and it does give awareness and understanding. And I think that this year, with all of these Cups cards, especially with this Ace of Cups here in October, we have this opportunity to sort of gain this deeper understanding of who we are emotionally and how that affects us mentally, or vice versa, the other way around, how our mental state can affect our emotional state. And we will see that sort of mirrored in our health department. Okay? So keep that in mind. For love, we have the Three of Pentacles. So this to me feels like I know the Leos that are looking for love or hoping for love this year you're going to be pissed when I say this, but this feels like a bit of laziness on your guys' behalf in the love department. Like, it feels to me like maybe you're not necessarily that driven by love this year. This might be a year that's more about taking care of yourself than the taking care of others. Those of you that may be in a relationship, this might be a very relaxed year for you guys to sort of sort out what it is you want, to sort out what it is you need, to sort of bring that stuff into balance, to see where you're maybe deficient in some aspects of your relationships and where you might be needing more in some aspects of your relationship. Are you going to go about getting that this year? I don't necessarily know. This Three of Pentacles to me feels very much like there's an ease or a relaxation, quite possibly maybe a laziness. There is a looking, when I look at these Three Pentacles, there is a looking for and an understanding. So I'm going to say this. Those of you that are in a relationship, you're going to be taking stock and inventory. Are you going to actually be doing something about it? Maybe not, only because I see so much inner work happening here. There is these months where we're appreciating those around us, and the Lover's card is here too. So there are going to be months where things are going to be really grand and good for those of you that are in a relationship. There is, even with this Lover's card, there is this opportunity for those of you that are not in a relationship to maybe find a relationship, right? Coming in off of this Three of Cups energy. But this Three of Pentacles energy is like, it's asking us, okay, so we have the relationship now, or the relationship has shown up, the potential of the relationship has shown up. Is this what we really want? And so I think that the Leos this year are going to have to really take stock or do inventory and decide on whether or not the existing relationship they have is worth sort of maintaining, or is there something that's, you know, severely lacking within that. Or this could be, for those of you that don't have a relationship, sort of the idea of, okay, what is it that I want? But see, I have this sort of, this guy in repose here, and even this one sitting that way. They're kind of looking at each other, but like neither feels like they're doing much work to get together. So we might find ourselves a little bit lazy in the love department, but new love could present, especially in these few months here. And also in this Ace of Cups month too. I'm going to say in October could be key for you guys too, for some of you, because this Ace of Cups definitely feels like a valid entry point for a significant other. I'm going to say this, this Ten of Wands could be the idea of maybe love coming to some of my Leos in 2021. Not, this might be that sort of lazy nature of this Three of Pentacles is sort of like we're working on sort of manifesting that at a material level, but we're not really quite sure what we want, so we're sort of sorting that out during the year of 2020. The last card is finance. Oh, interesting, the Hanged Man. So, I'm going to say this, we've got a bigger lesson around our finances this year. There might be some financial stuff. It's funny to me because you don't have a lot of Pentacles energy. You do have this Ace of Pentacles up here. This is about sort of discovering what we want in the world and how we want it and being inspired by that and maybe going after that and achieving that. But once we start to figure that out, we need to sort of do the mental and emotional work to get there, and we start to do that throughout the rest of the year. This Hanged Man says to me that we have it being part of your financial realm for this year. Says to me that there might be periods during the year where finances become an issue, or you might feel restrained or tied down, hung up in a way by your finances. But I think that this is not the year that it's about material gain as much as it's about emotional stability, emotional understanding, and sort of intellectual understanding of yourself, right? And as you gain those things, you start to be able to also connect spiritually. That's what I see in the Ten of Wands, what I see in the Knight of Wands, and the King of Wands, and that's your element of fire. That is your where your real sort of assimilation of the growth that you experience in 2020 takes place, right? And so we end out on that Ten of Wands, and I feel like that Ten of Wands really speaks to new paths. Now those new paths could be in money, they could be in health, they could be in finances. But when I'm looking at all three of these cards, I feel like there's work to be done in all three. The most significant will be finances, right? I do like that the Sun is present behind We have the sun present here behind the Hanged Man, but this is really about sort of, Leo, what are you spending, this is what I want to say to a majority of you is, what are you spending your money on and how or where? Because this year, 2020, you might be the problem. And I'm not saying that there's going to be big financial problems for you, but you might be able to be in control of whatever issues you may have financially and you just don't see it. Like there's just this opportunity where we have tied ourselves to the tree. We have the ability to cut ourselves free or get ourselves out of this feeling of suspension at any point in time, but we have to sort of acknowledge what it is we may or may not be doing around this. This is also a representational of new beginnings. So in finances, this Ace of Pentacles energy here in February, if we have some new inspired idea about maybe a new business venture or a job change, this could be also significant to your finances in the sense that the Fool always represents sort of a new beginning, walking into things a little bit, maybe not thinking things through completely, being a little bit naive, but that's okay because I sometimes think that naivete kind of opens us up to all the possibilities versus being too limited in our like overthinking things, right? We limit ourselves when we overthink stuff. So I think that there's an opportunity for big growth here, new beginnings, and also the opportunity to sort of free ourselves financially. If some of my Leos feel like you're going into 2020 in a financial state of restraint, that's this Hangman energy too. You have the power to sort of make a decision and move forward, but like with all of this Swords energy in the beginning part of the year, it might take you a couple of months to really get clear on that, especially with this Ace of Pentacles here. But by this King of Wands, say by April, May, we're moving in a way that feels a little bit more in control, and we may have sort of set ourselves free by that point. Okay? Now, I am going to do 2 more cards. One is from the Divine Doors deck, and as I shuffle this, I ask what doors are opening or closing for the sign of Leo in the year of 2020. Just to give us a little bit of further insight in a different way. So what doors are my Leos, Sun, Moon, and Rising either opening or closing in 2020? Oh, I'm running late for the forecast, guys. Okay, so this is your door. I'm going to talk about this door just for a moment. I like this door. I love that it's red. To me, this makes me think of the fire energy of the Wands cards that you have present throughout your year. I also like this white border here. This signifies to me sort of spirit, or seems representational of being covered or guided, or spirit is above you and watching over you. I also like that there's this openness or this sort of space for growth, room to breathe, that sort of thing happening above the door. So those are the first things that sort of stick out in my mind, is I feel like this represents spirit to me. So this white sort of border is like we're protected by spirit this year, or there's a strengthening of our own spirit, or a connection to our own spirit or our own guides that will happen this year. And this fiery redness of this whole door speaks to me about it being in line with Leo, with the element of fire, with our own sort of gregarious nature. Actually, it's funny, as I'm saying this, do you see these 2 circles here? It looks like an eye and a mouth. Like that could be a mouth of a lion, really. So let's see what the door says really quick. It says, intuition, simple, complex words of pain or that heal. You come to know truth by the way that it feels. Now, hello, we have this health card that I was talking to you about, the river of emotions and then the mental stuff, the mental thoughts. So when we look at this, it says intuition, simple, complex, words of pain or that heal. You come to know truth by the way that it feels. We have all of this Cups energy happening through the months of, May to the Lovers in August. So, and then this Ace of Cups happening in October. Those are the feelings, guys. Where this is about like figuring out our mental state and our emotional state and how they interact and how that can become our intuitive guide. How that spirit works through us and brings us to this place of understanding. So there is this definite, and I have to say this card being the intuition card speaks to this King of Wands energy, this Knight of Wands energy, because this is definitely the spirit card that I'm seeing, this white outline of spirit here. It's all of this work that we're doing this year is about strengthening our intuition, our connection to spirit, and moving forward in this with this Ten of Wands at the end of the year onto this sort of new path that we didn't even see coming, okay? Because the work that we've done this year has been at a different level, is what I'm just gonna say. It's at a level that was, we didn't even realize it in the moment until the transformation took place. Does that make sense? Now, the last card is from the Whispering Woods deck, and I'm using all mini decks, and all of these decks have unboxing videos. If you're interested in looking at them or purchasing them, you can check out their unboxing videos on my YouTube channel. But this is now what I sort of use as the grounding stone for the reading. So this card is sort of the thought to think about in the year of 2020, and the focal point of the year of 2020. What is it that my Leos need to sort of have whispered in their ear or be told to sort of think about, focus on? Where is their where is their inspirational point this year? So this year is wish. Make a wish with a dandelion in the wind. A dandelion, and we're doing the Leo read? Hello. So we have intuition, we have wish, and I'm thinking about like looking at these cards, and when it says to me that 2020 might start out a little slow for the Leos, with those aces, those kings, the growth and the awareness that's going to take place for you guys this year, really begin to sort of wish, think about, consciously hold in your mind what the possibilities are, where you would like to be by year's end, where you would. What are your wishes for this year? What does your intuition tell you is possible? And then start to head down that path towards those things. And you are going to find that the wind, that you sort of, it says make a wish with a dandelion in the wind. The wind is going to carry you so much more further than you really understand. That's that Ten of Wands at the end of the year. You're going to be surprised by how far your wishes and your intuition will carry you this year, and how deep you may go, and how profound the changes may be by year's end. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. I am late to the broadcast for this morning's forecast. You can always join me for the daily forecast. Please, again, like, share, comment, subscribe. Be like a dandelion in the wind, my dears, my little Leos, and use that energy to just sort of carry yourself towards your wishes. Use your intuition to do so, and trust that you will be like surprised by the new adventures that come your way come year's end. All right, have a great day. Bye bye.